Nicholas has been working in the tech industry for many years, and he's a proud mindfulness ambassador in one of the world's largest software companies, SAP. What does it mean to be vulnerable as a leader or manager, and why is this so important to us?
Yes, vulnerability. Let me tell you guys, I've been working in sales forever, for 7-8 years. At the same time, I've always been interested and super passionate, and I've been doing extensive trainings within the topic of self-growth, self-development, everything related to this piece of life, to this piece of technology that we have completely missed and overlooked individually and collectively as education system and school. Why? Because from the moment we were born, all the focus, all the energy went outward. So we started selling, marketing, developing outer technology when we have absolutely no idea about how this inner piece of the technology works. And this inner piece of technology, guys, comes with the most sophisticated inner faculties, the most complex inner processes ever imagined, like a brain, thoughts, energies, a breath. Have we seriously never been interested on how we work, guys? What is the source of your work? It's you. The source. We need to switch and start working with the source of your work, which is not work, it's you. It's how you think, how you feel, how you breathe, how you move. We're not working with the source, we're working with the results. Guys, we have it completely backwards. Going back to the question, what happens in the corporate environment for many of us? With all of these achievements that make us feel bigger, with all of these rewards and promotion that inflate our sense of identity. And sorry, let me tell you this as well. With money that we sometimes pursue at the mercy of our true heart calling, what happens is that we learn to be inauthentic. The formula, let me tell you the formula first. The formula is authenticity equals being real. Being real is the same thing as saying being vulnerable. And I'm going to tell you everything, don't worry. Being vulnerable is being classified as being weak. Being vulnerable is the most beautiful thing you could transmit to another human being and to yourself. What happens from a body and from an energetic standpoint when you are real and vulnerable? You relax yourself because you are being yourself. When your energy is relaxed, you can tap into relational trust, real relational trust, real relational bonding and connection, which is what we are all here for. So what happened in the corporate world? We become inauthentic because either we try to be someone that we're not, or we become someone that we're not meant to be. How does this work? They give you a job title. They give you a role. And as soon as you get the job title, you forget about the human being behind the job title and you completely identify with your job title. You dissociate from the human being wearing the mask, the beautiful mask of your role, and you live by your job title. Where is the problem? The problem is that the human being behind the job title usually has needs, wants, wishes, and desires which are different from the job title. What is the problem of being fully identified with your job title in the corporate environment? That the job title cannot be seen as real, cannot be seen as vulnerable. The job title always has to be perceived as strong, secure, bam, bam, bam. What does that mean? That means that if the human being behind the job title is currently feeling unsafe or upset or disappointed towards work, these feelings and these needs, you repress them. You repress them because we are so identified with the job title that, no, I need to be strong. I need to be strong. I need to be always good. This repression of your real needs and feelings creates contraction in the body. Contraction in the body means stress. This is for you to see why being inauthentic, how being inauthentic can hamper and positively and negatively impact my performance. Because there is a real self that wants to express his feeling, and maybe currently his feeling or her feeling towards the work is, I'm not feeling good, I'm feeling unsafe, I'm feeling disappointed, I'm feeling angry. But I always put forward the job title and never the human being behind the job title. This creates a contraction, this creates stress, as if we didn't have enough stress in the world already. Mm-hmm. So, if I can add, because this is one of the normalized code that we see in the corporate environment, inauthenticity. What do we do with that? We need to install a new code. We need to install a new paradigm, which is the paradigm of being authentic and vulnerable at work. How do we do that? Guys, you will probably spend most of your life at work. Work is the relationship where you probably spend most of your life. You will spend more time at work than probably with your partner. So the key here is treating the relationship with work as if it was a relationship with your best friend or with your partner. Obviously with the due boundaries, because it's still a corporate environment. The biggest stress of all is trying to be someone that you're not. Guys, stay with it.
I'm sure we've all had some experience with both ends of the spectrum where we've worked with leaders or had a leader who is not vulnerable at all, is always just chasing results and like a machine and completely unrelatable. And then on the other side, a colleague in a professional environment who maybe somehow we're not quite sure crosses over, is maybe oversharing, is maybe, using everybody as a, a dumping ground for whatever their emotional expressions are at a point in time. So chat to us a little bit about boundaries. Where are they in a professional context with vulnerability?
Yes, that's beautiful. Eventually, I just want to be fully myself at work. But before we get there, since we have learned and they taught us the opposite, that I cannot be seen as vulnerable, that I cannot be seen as real, my suggestion in the new corporate humanity that I envision is, let's go gradually. Why? Because many managers, many leaders, they're not ready to receive your real truth, to receive your authentic self. Many corporations are not ready for it. Why? Because they are looking only at the job title. They're not looking at the human being behind it. Now, a question to you. How many times your manager have asked you, Ben, how do you feel about work today? Film, what is your relationship with work today? Mangai, what do you need from work today? If you balance this human-related question that cares about the human being behind the job title, and if you compare it to the usual questions that, of course, you receive about your job title, so how much are you selling, forecast, blah, blah, there is a massive disbalance because corporations have not learned to care about the human being holistically. That's why my approach is, let's go step by step. Because Louise, I'm ready to be real. I'm ready to be authentic at work. But also the relationship from work towards me needs to change.
And looking at it from a leader's perspective, Nico, I'd be curious to know, let's imagine that we have a leader leading an organization, maybe an executive with many reporting lines, perhaps even a CEO. What does vulnerability look like in the shoes of power? And I use that word loosely, but in reality, within organizations, there's still a strong power dynamic. What does vulnerability look like in a CEO's shoes?
For leaderships, so what's needed from us towards work is courage. What's needed from a CEO, from leadership towards the employees, in my opinion, is a bit more sensitivity, which is the energy that we completely suppress in this hectic and doing world. We lose sensitivity towards the human being, and we only focus on the job title of that human being. So how does that look like from a leadership perspective? Louise, eventually, we all want to be seen, heard, understood, and valued for the totality of who we are. And not just for my performance, not just for how many deals I've closed, not just for my job title. I want to be seen, valued, understood, and loved for my totality. And the more I receive that holistic care, the more my commitment towards that company will increase. The more my energy, the focus, the passion that I give to the company that I work for increase, hence, obviously, increasing performance. This is logical, guys. Even the most skeptical in this room, this is logical. If I see from the CEO downwards, they care about not just my job title, but the real human being behind it, I'm going to give it all for that company. Hence, probably increasing individual and collective performance.
But I wonder if we could, for a moment, there's still obviously a lot of cynicism out there about this concept of vulnerability and what impact it really has on an organization. I will still chat to CEOs, executives who say, you know what, and they might say to you, Nico, I'm not interested. I've got results to deliver to the market. I have got pressure coming at me from left and right, shareholders, stakeholders, huge deliverables that are important for the sustainability of the organization. And I really don't have time to allow people to just be their authentic selves if that's going to compromise the results. How do results a results focus and a let's just be and do less? How do those two go together?
So first, it's not, of course, let's just be. It's combine and balance the doing epidemic that we're currently living in with the nourishment of the horse that rides your activities, which is your lovely body. I'm not even going to get into energies. Let's just stick to the earth. Let's just say the body. So there is another big epidemic, going back to the doing that you just said, another normalized code or paradigm that we take it as valid and good is the paradigm of productivity. Now, productivity holds positive qualities, positive virtues, because productivity being more efficient in what I do to create a more effective output. Brilliant. The problem is that it became simply a toxic loop of endless doing, which became detrimental and unhealthy for your body. Hence, not giving enough credit to your performance. So the problem is not the doing. The problem is not the productivity. Is associating your sense of self-worth, guys, to how many things you do for yourself on a daily basis. That became toxic. It's not productivity anymore. It doesn't hold the same positive virtues that productivity holds. Before you get real, you need to get back in touch with your horse, with your body, because otherwise you're not feeling anything. You're just following this endless loop of doing. Mm. But if the horse is not nourished enough, the rider can keep on requesting endless things. At some point, your horse will tell you, hey, do you want to stop it? This is the elegant way for your horse to tell you, do you want to pause? Then there are more excessive way. Mm-hmm. So the first step, Louise, and to become vulnerable is to get back in touch with your body, because your vulnerability sits in your body, in your feelings, and in your needs. That's why
it's interesting that you raised this. One of the most recent Gallup surveys came out, and it really speaks to, the levels of loneliness and sadness and anger and those negative emotions are exponentially higher in the world than they've ever been. And I mean, this is a survey that's done across hundreds and thousands of people, well, in fact, millions across the world. And of course, we see it as a coaching organization. We see it showing up in coaching sessions. Executives are tired, they're worn out, they're lonely, and they're really grappling to be integrated human beings. So I wonder, as my last question to you, Nico, what your experience and sense is of the role that coaching can play within an organizational context to really help build this vulnerability culture and help executives to be more authentic as human beings.
The nucleus of coaching is asking questions. Now, before I even go into asking questions to someone else, we'd better ask questions to ourselves. And we better start questioning what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. So coaching starts with questioning. And do you know the questions that I've asked you? Do you have anyone at work where you can be fully truthful to yourself? Do you have anyone at work you can be real with? Or how much do you give to yourself? The love, the attention and care that you so easily give to your customers or to your colleagues, are all questions that at least make you pause for a moment and make you question. My suggestion, guys, is without being full revolutionary, even though at some point I will be, question the norms, the beliefs that you take as normal, which you have not chosen. Guys, stay with me one more second. Feel this. Most of the norms, the rules, and the beliefs that you live by, you have not chosen them. See? Someone else chose them for you. Yes? So question all of them with the question, how does this make me feel? Is this norm expanding me or contracting me? Is this norm giving me love or taking out love from me? And create your own personal truth. Choose. The key metrics, honestly, the key metrics, one of the key metrics for vulnerability companies is retention. But not retention. Retention, commitment, and trust. Because if this person is able and finds a safe receiver on the work side where I can go and say, hey, manager, I'm feeling a bit unsafe right now. Oof. The body is, from an energetic perspective, what you just did there is unbelievable. I'm not going to get into that. Let's say, hey, manager, I'm feeling unsafe right now. I'm feeling unsecure because this, and that. And the manager will like, okay, I welcome your insecurity. What does your insecurity need right now? And the guy's like, my insecurity needs whatever it is. Do you see what level of connection and intimacy we've just created by two human beings? Intimacy, by the way, it's not, they told you that it's about sex. No, intimacy is what just happened. I express what I feel. I'm being received, and I express what I need for that feeling to soften. Potentially, I will not go out there and look for other companies or interviews because I feel I'm being heard. I feel I'm being understood. I feel my truth is being embraced and hugged